Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 4th Annual Human Services Panel Presentation. My name is Kim Branch Stewart, and I am the Chair of Human Services in the Health Sciences and Human Services Department. Before we get into complete introductions, I do want to welcome our wonderful, wonderful Dean, fondly known as Dean Donna. Her formal name is Dr. Donna Rain Shostak, and Dean Donna is always very supportive, not only of human services, but our entire division. Dean Donna has a meeting to go to shortly, so I'm going to give her the mic so that we don't keep her behind, make her tardy. Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, Kim. I am the fortunate person who has the privilege of being the dean of the division that houses the human services programs. And I want to welcome all of you. I don't know what could be a more fun, informative, exciting event, and it's great to see all of you here. This is the 4th annual. Look forward to being an annual event from now on. And I just know you're going to enjoy it. And thank you, Kim, for letting me have a chance to say welcome to everybody. How many, are you all students currently in the program? Anybody? Okay. Well, we're glad you're here. It is very exciting. Those of you who've been here for a little while know the changes that have been going on, which is just really strengthening the program constantly. It started out strong, and now it's just absolutely amazing. So I want to again welcome you. Have a wonderful day. I want to thank our panel, who are going to be introduced by Kim very soon.
Again, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. I want to introduce to you our esteemed panel members, and I'm going to start to my right with Lisa Swindell, who is one of our alumnus. Lisa Swindell is going to tell you more about herself, but she is a recent graduate of the Alcohol and Drug Certificate Program. She is now certified and working in the field. And again, she can tell you more about her journey herself when she shares with you all. Our next guest is David Muntz, also an alumnus of the Alcohol and Drug Certificate Program, also now certified and working as a program director in the field. And he as well will tell you more about himself. Further down, we have the Chief of Orange County Probation Department, who is humble enough to invite us to address him as Steve. Chief Steve Sentman, thank you for being here to all of you. He has a 30-year history in probation. He knows the essence and has worked in the essence of community-based corrections, and he will share with us his experiences. Then next we have, who do we have? We have Don Ford with CSP. Don Ford is a long-time collaborative partner with Saddleback College. Dawn is going to tell us about her programs, about the importance of higher education, and about job opportunities, especially working with victims of sexual and other violent assaults. Then we have Miss Cassie Owens, another, what timing, another of our wonderful alumnus who went through our program, and Cassie will tell you about her journey as well. Cassie went through our program and is now working where she interned as well at 211 Orange County. Cassie has been hired and promoted, and she's going to tell you all about the generalist and community-based corrections journey and opportunities. Then next we have our wonderful Greg Masters, who is service chief and collaborative partner with Orange County Healthcare Agency. I believe we're going into our 4th year where Greg Masters has graciously accepted our mental health worker interns for intern work during the summer. The type of tutelage that our students get under Greg's supervision is beyond what I got in my master's program. He is the service chief for the Adult Behavioral Services Psychiatric Emergency Response Team, and he will tell you more about those opportunities. Last but not least is a friend and a colleague, our dear Anna Bowes, who is also a collaborative partner. She is a licensed clinical social work professional. She was our collaborative partner formerly with Recovery Education Institute, and continues, I'm so happy to say, as our collaborative partner now with Telecare, another partner that offers internship and employment opportunities. And Anna will tell us more about that. Ladies and gentlemen, I will briefly go over the purpose of our panel. And as Dean Donna mentioned, it is our 4th panel, and we are repeating it only because it appears that the information that we wanted to disseminate to you has been effective and helpful. As long as we think it's helpful to you, we will continue offering the panel. The purpose is to have our alumnus, our community partners available to you to inform you about what can you do with your human services certificate? What kind of jobs can you get? What kind of salaries can you expect? So we hope to answer some of the questions that you have to emphasize the value of each of the respective human services certificates, of which there are 4, the Alcohol and Drug Studies Certificate, the Community-Based Corrections Certificate, we have our Generalist or Social Work Certificate, and we also have the Mental Health Worker Certificate, each of which is represented by our esteemed panel members today. So we're going to hear from our panel members, then we're going to have the Q&A session. There is a microphone to my right. When we have our question and answer session, ladies and gentlemen, please just line up at the microphone, ask any of the panel members questions that you may have about the industry or your academic and or professional goals, as well as our faculty who are invited to engage in the discussions at any time. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it. I want to stop because we need to hear from our panel members. So I'm going to stop and I'm going to turn this over to our alum, Lisa Swindell, Alcohol and Drug Studies Certificate. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for being here.
Hello, my name's Lisa. I graduated last semester with my drug and alcohol certificate, and I had no idea that I could get the job that I got. So when I started the certificate, I didn't really know what I wanted to do with it, but I thought maybe work with adolescents. So by the time I got to my internship, there was a new site that had opened up with Department of Ed, working with another department within Department of Ed called Safe Schools, and they work with at-risk youth. So at that point, I had kind of known I was hoping to work with incarcerated youth, but when I inquired about this internship, I had no idea that's what it was. And I was fortunate to get an internship working with kids that are at probation camps doing drug and alcohol counseling. They rely heavily on interns, which, just a little plug, we really need drug and alcohol interns right now, and they're still open for that. So I started doing that. They do ask for 2 semesters, and it's a little different than a lot of the things I learned. They have some kind of tighter parameters than I expected with being within your role, because they have a lot of therapists, MSW interns. So it was a little rocky at first, but it turned out to be the best thing ever. I love the population that I work with. I hope that's the only population I ever work with forever. They're great kids to work with. I do collaborate with probation. So there's a drug and alcohol program. I work at Joplin Youth Center, and there's a drug and alcohol program up there. They call it the FEAR program. Probation runs that, and I work with probation as the drug and alcohol counselor and kind of helping them with that program. So I had no idea that I could get that kind of job with a certificate. What I will tell you is all the doors opened at the right time. Their drug and alcohol at Joplin left, their counselor left, and I applied for the position and got it. I have a job with my certificate. I do not yet have higher education. I'm working toward that. But the job I have, I'm pretty much paid right on par with what a lot of their therapists start at. Like, I'm kind of considered within that. I'm not considered therapy, but as far as jobs go, I'm looked at as a peer with them. So it's still unbelievable to me that that happened. I get really good benefits, and I have a pretty great starting salary. So I still kind of look around every day that I come into work and go, did they really hire me just with a certificate? But that's what qualifies you, you know? So the certificate was a huge blessing for me. Just doors opened at the right time. Great place to be. Kim, what am I missing?
Well, I think you're on it. I do want to add, ladies and gentlemen, excuse me. This is Lisa is one of our pioneer students with the Department of Education, Orange County Department of Education. They just started the alcohol and drug treatment program for adolescents at Joplin and Youth Guidance Center, I believe. So Lisa is one of our first students that interned there. It was a 2-semester commitment, and as she states, she was hired. But I want you alcohol and drug studies students to know that they sought out our interns because of the reputation of you guys. So as she said, it's a growing industry, it's a growing field. The need for treatment of substance use disorders with youth, there are opportunities out there. I think you covered it.
Okay, good.
Great. Congratulations, Lisa.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Great job. Thank you.
My name is David Muntz, and I'm the program director of A Better Life Recovery, also one of the owners of the company. I started out at Saddleback 4 years ago. Okay, 4 years ago, and I hadn't been to school probably in 10 years, 12 years, and was kind of looking for something to do, and it kind of related to me personally to get involved in the drug and alcohol studies program. I was kind of working in the field as a client care person, and then wanted to learn some ethical boundaries and some standards within treatment. And so I had Kim for one of my first classes, and then so it just kind of continued from there. It really prepared me to work in the field, and as I got more involved in my studies here and learned more, it allowed me to kind of excel in my career at the facility that I was working at, and kind of started working my way up into intake and admissions, and slowly growing there. And as my education grew, so did my skill level, and so I was able to utilize that to kind of move to a really great position there. The human services, it took me 4 years to get through the program. I took like 2 classes because I was working full-time, 2 classes usually at night every semester, but was able to complete it, and it really prepared me for the ability to open up a program of my own and to be a program director with everything I do. So the program that I run now is really based on client care groups, all-male facility, and really small groups. So we max out at 10 clients. And the people I get to work with in this field, kind of like she was saying, that automatically become colleagues at our facility. We have psychiatrists, psychologists, MFTs, and AOD counselors. Every AOD counselor that I've hired has happened to be an alumni from Saddleback. And we look forward to starting, maybe have interns here shortly too. So I'll be talking to Kim about that. As far as salary, so every one of our counselors has, gets registered with KD or KDAC, one of those two. So I was just telling Kim, I was just recently, because I graduated here with Lisa, and I was, when I took the test, I was absolutely really prepared to take the test for a certificate. The education that I got here, I use every single day in the field. There's nothing that I don't remember or take in and go, oh, Kim said that, or Sean said that at some point, or what would Kim do in this situation, especially when it comes to situations that you get in. And there's a lot of situations you get in this field. Every day is different. It's very, very rewarding because I get to watch people change their lives every day. And I never thought I could be a part of that from an educational level. So it's really good. As far as what was some of the other questions? Like I said, we hire all of our people. Saddleback is a big thing for us, that we would like all of our AOD counselors, and we have 4 of them now, and we're looking for more, and they've all happened to be alumni because they just seem to be the best qualified as we go through that. Salaries, they range. from depending on from 1099 employees as far as just doing 3 or 4 groups a week. And those are about $40 an hour. They do a group up to the full-time employees, and they're, roughly making $30,000 to $40,000 starting out a year. So it's not bad. For like she said, for a certificate, it's amazing what you can do with going through this education. So, and I'd be happy to talk to anybody who's interested in kind of breaking into the field afterwards or anything like that. So we have a lot of positions as far as just client care as you're starting out, and you could get registered and kind of start to figure out and learn about the field a little bit and see if it's something that you're interested in.
Very good. Thank you, David.
All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Steve Sentman, and I always say I have the privilege to be the Chief Probation Officer here in Orange County. Before I get started, I want to thank Kim for inviting me, and also I'll call him Joe Salcido. Joe has not only been a mentor and a friend to me throughout my entire career, as I'll explain to you here, but it's great to see him here today. I also have an added benefit. My daughter just started school here Monday. Is that when school started, or last week? I'm sorry, I have one going into high school and one out of high school, so I'm outnumbered in many ways. But it was great to just see her here today. And I actually went to Long Beach City College when I started my education. I went to Cal State Long Beach because I actually grew up in LA County before I came to, as they call it, the OC. But I'm very familiar with Saddleback College. I live close in the area. I'm happy to see that not only one of my children attend here, but I'm glad to be here to give back as much as I can to you as students here, to the faculty here. I believe that's one of my roles. Believe it or not, I've been doing this for 30 years. I started at 10 years old. Just kidding. Just got to bring a little laughter here. But I also believe as I'm, I'm technically eligible to retire, but I have still, my children are quite young, and I actually enjoy what I do each and every day. And it's quite different from when I first started to what I'm responsible and for what I do today. But I also feel it's my responsibility to give back, and I intend to do that after I leave the probation world in whichever fashion I can, because the field of community corrections is growing. And there's pros and cons to that. I often will walk around our regional probation offices and talk to people on probation because I don't carry a caseload anymore and haven't for several years. But I really prefer to be put out of business if we can. The reality is, though, as my collaboratives here, and these are my collaboratives here, it's amazing as I recognize faces. I'm terrible with names, as long as I remember my own, but I recognize some faces here, and I definitely know the agencies that these individuals represent. And part of community corrections is who's at this table here today. It is key. So let's talk just a little bit about the department and myself. Again, I've been fortunate to come right out of Cal State Long Beach, as we all do when we get out of school and find a job. I applied with LA County Probation, believing that I grew up in LA County, that I owed the county, the County of Los Angeles to get back to them. I had a desire to be a police officer, so I applied with the Long Beach Police Department. And then I met a person much like this at a community college level who worked for Orange County Probation. And I put 3 applications in. And for all of us with jobs, the first person that calls, I recommend you take the job. For many reasons. It's difficult to get jobs nowadays, but most importantly, now having a parent of a college kid, we want you to get jobs and we want you to be successful and we want you to attain your goals, and it's important. So I started with the probation department, and I started at our entry level, which is a night staff at Juvenile Hall. And like I say, I've worked every single position in our department, and I think that's given me the ability to not forget where people start in our agency. We have a very difficult job. People do not volunteer to come on probation, believe it or not. The court orders you, and once the court orders you, whether you're a juvenile to be in one of our facilities or an adult to be supervised by one of our outstanding probation officers, it sometimes takes a little while to get people to be told what to do. Most folks that end up on probation usually have challenges that they're facing that we all deal with, and one of those is not having somebody up and involved in their life every day like we are. Kids that are at Joplin, for example, or at Juvenile Hall, a lot of those kids are not used to the structure that we provide, going to school every day, the therapy and counseling that all these individuals here provide. Now, they'll be better for it in the long run, but in the beginning, it's usually quite difficult, and those are some challenges that we face. Even though I work for the probation department, though, community corrections is the theme I want to continue on. October 1st, 2011, who heard of the term realignment, state parole, moved everything to community? Okay. So that forever changed, in my opinion, not only my life professionally, but forever changed the face of what probation is responsible for. Probation department, in a basic description, is simply a second chance, sometimes a third chance, sometimes a 10th chance, sometimes a 20th chance. I have different philosophies about that. For the juvenile offenders we have, there's never enough chances. I believe we have a responsibility, being a father of 2 children, that you give people as many chances as you can, especially as children. Unfortunately, though, if adults get into the system, I'm a true believer, too, that we need to work with adult offenders, too, and give them every opportunity. There's a little different belief on adults because you're expected to make decisions for yourself. And there's some people that are quite happy, I hate to say this, to be in the system. But amazingly enough, in my 30 years, I find out some people really don't want to be in the system and really work hard, but they just don't have the skill sets. They don't have the capacity. They don't have the support. They don't have things that most of us have. Basic knowledge of just, what it is to be a productive citizen. People just don't have that. And when you understand that as a probation officer or correctional officer, it puts us in a different position. We are responsible for court orders, so we have a law enforcement side, but so we also need to be very balanced. We have a therapist counselor side of our business. And if you look at every day the work that we do, you're constantly moving back and forth between that spectrum and what's your level of responsibility. Each correctional officer we have in our institutions, their primary responsibility is the safety and security of the youth that are in their custody. That's period. That's the primary responsibility with everything else. With that, though, once a youth is in our custody and behaving, there's much more to the job. And again, to my colleagues to the left and right here, we couldn't make it without them. But the staff that we have, they're challenged every day to meet the challenges of the youth that we have in custody. Back to October 1st, real quick, 2011, you probably heard it on the news. It was called realignment. The state's going to release everybody early out of prison. Everybody's hair is going to be on fire, and California forever won't be the same that we ever thought it would be. As the probation chief, I felt differently, and I will tell you, politically, it wasn't very easy for me in the first parts of 2011, October of 2011, because politically in this county, and this is now Steve talking, not the chief probation officer, politically, realignment was not accepted here in Orange County. But the reality of the law of AB 109 was the chief probation officer will chair the community corrections partnership within the county. I fortunately have an outstanding relationship with the sheriff, the district attorney, public defender, social services, judges, whoever they are. Because in my 30 years, I was taught by people like Joe Salcedo, another plug for Joe, is you better learn how to have relationships and networks with people in this business. Because someday you're going to rely upon them. Interesting enough, when I sit around executive tables now, these are people that I worked with that were on the street as police officers or administrators, or they were therapists, and now we're all sitting in these roles where we have policies and procedure responsibilities. So getting back to that key word of responsibility, of collaboration is so key, and I rely upon it every day. And I realize every day that if you don't have collaboration, we're not independent contractors. We need everybody to work together. We're charged since 1909. That's how long we've been in business. The probation department has been in business here in Orange County. But what I've learned over especially my last 5 years, the relationships I have with numerous people have continued to give the success to our agency in what we're challenged with. As for folks that we hire, there's a variety of different ways to get into our agency. As a sworn officer, you're a peace officer. You have peace officer status. And some people, does that mean you're a cop? No, you're not a cop. You have, time is up. Okay, I'm going to speed through this real quick. So you come as a sworn officer. Most folks come in with an AA degree or a bachelor's degree, but we're seeing a lot of master's degrees too. A lot of people getting themselves educated. Along with the certificate program, that's important too. I would recommend volunteer and internships, because then you can have an insight into our agency to see what we're about and make sure you want to make a 30-year commitment. So with that, I'm open for any questions. I can talk forever, so I'm done. Okay.
Hello. Almost blinded myself with the mic. Good afternoon. I'm Dawn Four. I run the sexual assault unit for CSP, which stands for Community Service Programs, Victim Assistance Programs. CSP is the largest nonprofit human services agency in the county, and we are everywhere. We're in probation, we're everywhere. I've been coming here for 16 years to talk to Mr. Goodman's drug, does he do a drug? Yeah. Right. Yeah, I speak for that. For 16 years I've been coming here, and I was also 10. So, Victim Assistance Programs, we are the agency in Orange County that takes care of all of the victims of felony crimes. We have a sexual assault unit, which is our largest unit, because unfortunately sexual assault is the largest felony crime in the county. We have a gang violence unit. They take care of victims, usually secondary victims, because in most of our gang violence cases, the perpetrators are deceased, and so we take care of their family. We have a homicide unit, same thing. We take care of the families. And we have a domestic violence assistance program that is located in Family Law Court, Lamoureux Justice Center, across the street from what used to be called The Block, but I think they've changed the name 3 times since then. We have our newest unit, which is a human trafficking unit. We are providing services for a very, unfortunately, large number of young girls who have been trafficked here to Southern California. We are in a collaboration with Westminster Police Department, Anaheim Police Department, and a lot of other agencies and to take care of these victims. So basically, we are victim witness for the county. Does everyone know what victim witness is? When you are involved in a felony crime and you are the victim, the state has a fund that is paid into by convicted felons. So it's not a taxpayer-generated fund. And then victim witness centers, every county has one. Across the state, we can access that funding if they need extended therapy, hospital bills paid. In domestic violence cases, we're buying people teeth all the time, because their teeth have been knocked out and things like that. We also are, in sexual assault, we are state certified sexual assault counselors. So we have in-office sessions, we run support groups, we do empowerment things. Now, we take a lot of volunteers. I have 80 volunteers in my sexual assault unit, and I looked it up. We have 6 from Saddleback. Yay! We have probably 60 volunteers in the human trafficking unit, and then all of the victim witness centers, which are located in each courthouse in the county, also take volunteers. We do have limited internship possibilities. They're unpaid. We're nonprofit, so we don't get paid. Yeah, well, we do a little bit, but we're very popular. I think when the show Law and Order SVU came out, we just shot up because that's what we do, and everybody wanted to be Mariska Hargitay, but we're, like I say, we have waiting lists. So if you are interested in working with victims of crime in this kind of a setting, in a courthouse setting, you need to contact, and I'll give you all the information, our volunteer coordinator, and get in there. I myself, when I hire, which is frequently, I almost always hire one of our volunteers or one of our interns because they have experience and they're trained the way that we want them to be trained. Now, our positions, most of them require a bachelor's degree or higher, but we do also have positions where you do not need to have a bachelor's. A human services certificate would be really awesome to those court centers. where they would love to have someone that was schooled in working with people and people that are maybe in crisis rather than just normal, happy people, which seems like you are all working with kind of difficult things in here. We have an amazing benefit package, I have to say that. Much better than Boeing, and I know this because my friend is at Boeing and I have a better package. Salaries start usually around $35,000 plus benefits, and we get regular raises, so I'm up to $2 an hour now. So I would love to see any of you come and volunteer with the agency. You can look us up. We have an amazing reputation, and when you do have experience with us, even as a volunteer, and that goes on your resume, you're going to get looked at. I can promise you that. So that would be CSP, Community Service Programs, and I have all of these heavy brochures for you so you can scope out our programs. Thank you.
My name is Cassie Owens. I am with 211 Orange County. My title now is Program Manager for the Collaborative Engagement Department. I've had a handful of titles in the past 3.5 years I've been with them. And I was just sitting here doing the math. Like, when did I first start Saddleback? So I first started here at Saddleback 10 years ago, when I was 10. No, I'm just kidding. This week, 10 years ago, which is crazy to think about. And I went here out of high school for 3 years, played around, was going to get a communications degree, and then just didn't. I decided to work because I didn't know what I wanted to do with a communications degree. So I worked for a couple years doing retail and learned that I hate retail and quit and came back to Saddleback to kind of figure out what I wanted to do before I went to a big kid college. And Saddleback is, it like warms my heart every time I come here and get that email from Kim. I'm like, yes, I'll be at Saddleback in a heartbeat. Like, I have so many fond memories of here in the Human Services program. So I kind of just fell into it, looked at the class schedule, got a passion for really this human services field. And I completed the program, so I went to Saddleback, left, came back, and did the Human Services program here in about 1.5 years. Which was great because I just had to do the certificate classes. And I got mine in corrections and criminal justice when it still had criminal justice in the title. Yay. And then I transferred to Cal State Fullerton and got my bachelor's in criminal justice over there. I tell everyone that my time at Cal State Fullerton was nothing compared to my experience here in this department. The teachers, the support. I walk on this campus and 4 teachers come up and hug me. It's crazy. I'm like, oh, I love you all. Like, I love everything you guys teach your students, the skills and stuff that I, like everyone else has said, will hold on to forever that comes up in everyday situations in my personal life and also my workplace. So 3.5 years ago, I started interning at 211. And is anyone familiar with 211? Heard of 211? Okay, a couple. Well, I will tell you what it is. So 211 is a health and human services hotline. Primarily our function is a hotline, right? You dial 211 like you dial 911, 411, and you get us. And what we have is this database of thousands of health and human services agencies here in Orange County. So people call us and they're like, hey, I need help with rent. I need help with food. I need help with shelter tonight. And we'll search our database and then refer them to this plethora of nonprofit and government agencies in the county. It's crazy that people have never heard of 211 because we're really working to be the backbone of health and human services. We want to be the first stop for people in need, whether it be a drug and alcohol problem, whether it be domestic violence. Talk to us. We'll be that voice on the phone and then refer you to people who can help. We get suicide calls, unfortunately, and then people call us and ask where Pizza Hut is. So it's like everything and anything you can imagine, we get on that helpline, right? So my first internship was working on our helpline. And then my second one, I did at 211 as well. I worked in the back end and doing like resource department updates. So that's talking to the agencies, finding out about all you guys in the county, and making sure that information is accurate and up to date in our database. 3.5 years later, now I'm a program manager, which is crazy and exciting. Coming up in the world of 211 as always. But I've done everything and anything in between, pretty much too. We merged with another agency called Orange County Partnership about 1.5 years ago. And with that merge of 211 and Orange County Partnership really opened up the doors of the different services we can offer. One fantastic thing about the nonprofit field is that funding comes from many different sources, right? So my work knows that I have a passion for criminal justice and the incarcerated population and reentry and things like that. That is where my heart is. So we go after grants that have to do with those things. We launched a reentry portal on our website. So it's a portal for anyone coming out of jail or prison with transition checklists and where are the resources in the county and things like that. Another grant we recently went after and we got and very excited about is Medi-Cal enrollments for currently incarcerated, which is awesome. So we're kicking that off. It was supposed to be next week, but things got pushed back with the jails. But we're going to be physically going into the jails with Medi-Cal applications, filling them out for clients, and then taking them and bringing them to social services. So one less thing those clients who are incarcerated don't have to worry about when they walk out the door. So excited about that. The other program that I manage is CalFresh enrollment. So again, with this merge of our agencies, expansion of different programs. So again, we were just known for our helpline and the two in-person service programs that we offer are CalFresh, so food stamp enrollments. We're all over the county doing that, and the Medi-Cal enrollments, which is great. With nonprofits, you have to be flexible. When I got this promotion, the idea was to hire someone to do the job I was doing before, which was volunteer and intern management and outreach coordinator. Well, no, that didn't happen yet. So they just made me salary. So now I do both jobs. So, but that's nonprofit, right? That's the way it works. You're never going to be a millionaire. That's one thing that you need to know. But you can make enough money to survive, most definitely, and be fulfilled, I think. I think I'm fulfilled going to work every day. Though my client interaction right now is minimal, what I'm facilitating and the employees I have under me, really, it's amazing. It's amazing knowing the impact that my agency makes in this county. What else do we do? Every other year, okay, time's up. Every other year we do a homeless count, and we did that back in January. And so just so many things going on with 211, always open for volunteers and interns. I think I have 2 Saddleback interns right now, which is great. It's always a soft spot. I'm like, oh, you're from Saddleback? Come on. Like, I don't even care. Like, I love you. Like, do you have Kim? Like, who are your teachers? What's going on? So those phone interviews are like an hour. I'm like, tell me about your classes. So anyway, I love 211, and now you know. So now you know it's there. Tell people it's maybe you don't need services today, but you might know someone else who does. So spread the word and call us. We're always here 24/7. Thanks.
Yes, thank you so much. Greg? Whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Another older baby boomer on the panel, like Steve and Dora over here. I've been working with the County of Orange for almost 30 years, and I didn't even start until I was in my 30s, so don't even try doing that math. But I still love what I'm doing, and I still enjoy working with my colleagues and being able to provide services. We're with the adult and older adult behavioral health services, and we are the 5150 team of the county. We're called the Centralized Assessment Team or the CAT team. Does anyone know what 5150 is? Some of you out there, yes. We go out and respond to the people who are at psychiatric risk for hospitalization. So I remember 4 or 5 years ago, Kim came to me and said, I would like to have a student do their intern with you. And I said, okay, are they first year or second year MSW students? Because we only take second year MSW students. And she said, they're not MSW students yet, but they probably will be if they continue in school. And I said, okay, where are they? Well, this is Saddleback Mental Health Training Program. And Kim was persuasive enough to allow me to bring aboard one of their interns. And since then, we've had 4 or 5. And nothing, don't say anything about Cal State Fullerton, Cal State Long Beach, but the interns that she's referred have been right there with us and had the skills to be able to go into the community and really be around some folks that were really in need of treatment, a lot of times hospitalization. So we've had some really good interns that have been able to work with us and get an opportunity to see people that are kind of at their worst. And so it's been pretty excited to be able to work with Kim and the interns and be able to allow them an inside view of kind of the services that we provide. We get a lot of those referrals from 211, the suicidal, not the pizza. But you know, starting with Orange County, you can come in as a mental health worker, and a mental health worker qualifications, I think I have right here, which is basically is able to conduct individual crisis counseling sessions, develops treatment plans, and has to have a California driver's license. So those are minimum qualifications. So if you have a California driver's license, you probably qualify in this room. And of course, from there you go up to mental health worker 2 and 3. So there's different levels, but you can go to ocgov.com and at least get an application started. And then along your career path, you can look at other opportunities that are there that you may be qualified for. So, you know, get started, get an application, and go from there. But anyway, I've enjoyed working with the interns, and hopefully we'll have more as time goes on. Thanks.
And you shall. Thank you, Greg, so much.
I'll be the grand finale.
All right, Anna.
I'm Anna Bose. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I've known Kim in a couple different capacities. And the one I'm very excited about is having possible interns at my program. I am the program administrator for the Assisted Outpatient Treatment Program at Telecare. Yeah, I said that correctly. Okay. Actually, it's the implementation of Laura's Law, and I don't know if you're familiar with Laura's Law. Anyone? Crickets. Okay.
Laura's Law out there?
Okay. So basically, it's the program that provides assistance to people who haven't been successful in other programs. I'm sure you guys have all heard of Kelly Thomas. That would be someone we would be helping out. And I'm actually looking for people to work in my program as personal service coordinators. There are personal service coordinators 1 and 2 in all of our programs, so it'd be telecarecorp.com. And I'm amazed what my PSCs do. They do things I didn't learn until grad school, and it's a great opportunity if you are looking to go back into school and get that experience. And let me see what else. I'm a big fan of education. I think it's the one thing that can never be taken from you. So just keep going. Keep going, keep going. The money isn't great. It gets better as you go. It's one of those things where the longer you do it, the more you get paid. It's not necessarily that you're just like, oh, I'm so much better than the person who's been doing it for 10 years. Well, that person has more experience. So you do get raises as you go. I'm more of a dialogue person, so just ask me questions if you have specific questions.
Okay. Anna, thank you so very much. Let's give her a hand. Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to summarize a couple of things, and I'm going to turn this portion over to any of our faculty members who may have announcements, but primarily for you all to ask our esteemed panel members questions. I do want to emphasize, as Anna and some of our panel members did, that higher education is so key. And I invite and challenge each and every one of you to consider what you're doing here at Saddleback College, the springboard to higher education. Many of you will continue on. You just don't know it yet. Many of you will continue on. I wanted to also ask Sean Osborne to come up. There are a couple of announcements. And before he speaks, I just want to acknowledge and thank Sean for his innovation and technology. For those of you who may or may not know, we have an outstanding newsletter on our Human Services webpage, which is noted right up here, that Sean Osborne has taken upon himself to put together for our department. We also have a face page. We have a Facebook page that Sean has put together. And also, and he's the newest faculty on the block, but there's something else he's going to tell you about, including our online Occupational Skills Award. So I'm going to turn over to Sean. Thank you, Sean.
Thanks, everyone. I appreciate it. As Kim was saying, we do have an Occupational Skills Award, and that Skills Award is around eating disorders. It's a great add-on for any of our certificates. And a good example of that is so many of the people that we deal with in all the different areas are victims of sexual assault. And for a lot of them, they have this idea that if I eat more or eat less, I'm going to look different. And when I look different, then you won't want to do this to me again. And taking these kinds of programs help you to be able to understand that, to be able to work effectively with people, whether you're working on one of our certificates or just want to enhance your own skills where you're currently employed. That's a great way to do that. As Kim was saying also, we do have a Facebook page, and for the first time in a long time, we're going to be doing a club on campus. And so for anybody who may be interested in the Human Services Club, please look for us on Facebook. It's Saddleback College Human Services, and I'll be posting an announcement for that probably in the next week so that we can begin our first meeting. We've already started all the paperwork and all the sort of technically difficult things to be in place. And now we just need people who are interested in participating in that club to come to that meeting, and we'll get everybody going. We'll talk then at that point about the things we want to do throughout the course of the semester, and maybe some volunteer things and some fun things too, so that we can sort of all be on the same page about moving forward in this, what I consider a great career opportunity for anybody. Let's see, I think those are the big things that I wanted to say. I do want to just say how appreciative I am of being here. I taught in Northern California hours and hours from here, where human services exists in the world of 3 classes, and that's it. And it's little to nothing in terms of how people are being prepared for working in a field that is never, ever going to go away. People have needs, and it's just going to increase and increase and increase, and we're going to be here to meet those needs. We recently were voted the #1 community college in California, and I think it's programs like ours that contribute to making that what it is. And so thank you all.
Thank you. This is the meat of our program. First, I want to give my sincerest and deepest gratitude to each and every of our panel members, many of whom I contacted at the last minute, I must admit. You all are so gracious to be here and be part of this important process. Let's give each of our panel members a round of applause. Thank you, guys, sincerely. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to turn this over to you. You're encouraged to inquire, follow up, ask questions, and take advantage of our panel members' presence here today.
I have parents that sometimes they have sons that they got out of jail, but they struggling to get jobs. Where is the first step they can do to get something? Because they go places that they don't take any felonies. So where can they go, or how can the mother help them out?
That's a very good question, and also a very difficult question to answer. When you look at the system as it's set up, it is difficult if you've had a felony, because on most applications, it actually asks you if you've been convicted of a felony. I think there's different legislation that continue to work with that. But the offenders that we have, what we do is the next step in Community Corrections Partnership, which I chair, is the community side of it, whether it's the programming side. I mean, 211, every program I've heard, now I put faces to all of you because I hear about all the different programs. We have a monthly meeting where it's open to the public, and I'm actually going to ask several of the members on this panel here to see if they can start making those meetings or sending somebody, because that is the next question, is where does somebody get a job? I remember starting as a probation officer, and you tell somebody, go out and get a job, come back and let me know how that worked out for you. And unless you know a family member or somebody has a private business, They're not going to get jobs at the County of Orange in the beginning, so that's not realistic. And I think that's the key word, is being realistic with folks to understand. Another thing, too, is kids getting jobs. They're not going to go flip burgers at McDonald's anymore because of, as we come out of the Great Recession, the people that are flipping burgers and stuff, and I don't mean to make light of that, but that's usually the term, you know, and I'm talking about service type jobs that most people don't want to do, is now you have people in there that are going to college or out of college grabbing those jobs too. So it's difficult to tell a kid to go get a job. So I don't have a direct answer. Then I'll just say 2-in-1. I'll do a little advertisement for 2-in-1.
Yes.
They're outstanding, and I think we need to continue to, in our field, in the probation department, we need to continue to build that resource.
And there are, I swear mine doesn't work. There are a handful of services out there and specific agencies that do work with that population and connect them to jobs that will accept people with felonies. Thank you. Call 211.
As a female, should I exclude working at an all-male facility? Should I even bother, or?
No.
So I work with juveniles, but where I'm at, it's all boys. So from that end, I would say no.
And from my end, even though we are all male facility, I have one MFT, and she's a female, and one of our AOD counselors, she's also a female. So absolutely not.
And from probation, no, also. I think you just have to be mindful of working with, for example, for you're working at Joplin, but that would be any type of juvenile type of population, male or female. You just have to be conscientious of that. Here to tell you, having 2 daughters, I support females definitely in any of this business. I think it's important. I think we need to have, there's a belief in our business that it's all males, or law enforcement, it's all males. I'm here to tell you, I don't believe that. I think we need a balance. Just look at the Army Rangers here recently. You have 2 young ladies who are now Army Rangers. So I think you should never put that as a reason not to apply for some type of job.
Thank you.
This was for Anna. I didn't understand what your agency did. Could you just say more about it? And you also said sort of a last resort for people where it failed at other places. I didn't get any
well,
of that.
Telecare in and of itself has programs in 8 different states. So I'm only one small program of Telecare. In Orange County, there are several programs that are full service partnerships. So they're usually community mental health based, in the field, 24/7 capability. My program in particular are people who haven't been successful in those other programs. Their family members call the Laura's Law hotline with healthcare agency, and they get evaluated and referred through the court. So it's one of those where, we're trying to find people, and I'm making eye contact with one of my colleagues, making contact in the RV, trying to find people wherever they are, and we serve all of Orange County. And right now it's just me and 2 personal service coordinators with those folks. So I'm desperately hiring. I especially need Spanish speaking because it's not so much the participant in the program, but the family speaks Spanish, and we try to provide services to them as well. But Telecare is definitely community mental health based. We are for-profit, and it has great benefits, and I've been working with the company about 4 months, and I love it. I really look forward to going to work every day. So, sure.
Anna, can I ask you a question related to that?
You certainly can, Sean.
If we had an intern with you, then what would that intern be doing?
Basically, alongside what a PSC would do. My thing with interns is I would love to hire that person, because then, like what I think she was saying, like they're already trained and ready to go. My understanding is interns are not supposed to be by themselves with our participants, so they would do a lot of shadowing, maybe co-facilitating groups. We think a lot outside of the box. I mean, we're helping our folks maybe even clean their apartment or find them housing. Our folks might live in a room and board and care. So we go out to them a lot. So they would be providing that service, but they wouldn't be on call like the staff. But we have a rotating staff where they're actually on call, and they might go out and do a 50-150 or provide support in a crisis. Crises, of course, always happen, not between 9 and 5, Monday through Friday. So we do have staff available all the time. But that's what they would be learning, how to be a personal service coordinator.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hi. Before I ask my question to Greg, Lisa, I definitely want to talk to you afterwards.
Sure.
Because I also am here to get my certificate in drug and alcohol counseling, and I do want to work with youth. And it sounds like you're in a great position that I could get my next step from. Greg, my question is for you. I know that with adult psychiatric issues, what comes along is also drug and alcohol because possibly of self-medicating in what they might call dual diagnosis. When you come across these situations where you're working with somebody and they might be on drugs or alcohol, how does your team address that?
That's a great question. We do respond to people that are in crisis, and if you're in crisis, then we're looking at you having difficulty in managing your living arrangements and being where you are. A lot of our referrals come from law enforcement and also family members. Probably at least 50% of the people that we go out there and evaluate do have a coexisting drug and or alcohol problem. And we know that risks are actually elevated when somebody is under the influence of drugs or alcohol. So we go out there and we evaluate for the risk. Usually if somebody is under the influence of drugs or alcohol, then we bring them to an emergency department to get them medically cleared and then determine whether or not they need to be transported to a psychiatric facility. But we go out there regardless of whether it's a psychiatric issue or drug and alcohol or both.
Hello, my name's Veronica. Hi. First, I just want to say, Anna, I would love to intern with you.
Thank you.
It sounds right up my alley. And I think my questions are for Cassie mostly. I am planning on going to further education, and I'm hoping to transfer to Fullerton next fall. How important or how crucial was it for you to have this certification? Because I'm looking at this going, I love Saddleback. I love the faculty. I feel, very secure in my education here. But I'm kind of on a faster track to go toward Fullerton and work towards a bachelor's degree. It would almost be backtracking for me to go back and get a certification and then keep going. What did that look like for you?
Okay, does it work now? Oh, my voice. For me, I didn't need to have any. I have my certificate in the corrections and criminal justice, not the alcohol and drug one. So for me, I didn't need. I didn't need anything to get into my field. So human services is really, in general, is based on experience and who you know, kind of. And you can, my job, the 211 doesn't do any type of background check, so I could have any type of felony. They wouldn't know. Obviously education is huge, and I'm glad I did it. But no, as I was working through my bachelor's, I was already employed, and the flexibility of human services allows you to be able to do that, to continue your education. It's super supported in the field. But I would suggest work and do your education at the same time.
Right, and then just to work to try to have a current job and something that will further that in my career as well, even if it's just at a lower place. Right? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Vine. My question is for Cassie as well. About 211, we're all taught about 211 and what it does and what they offer, but I would imagine when I get out of this program that I would like to refer a lot of people. I would like to refer people to 211 and use it. And I was wondering if there was any volunteer opportunity so I can come down and see actually how it works, actually see it running combat speed. So
yeah, always. We're always recruiting volunteers and interns. And again, my soft spot is for Saddleback students. So no, always. And we have a handful of opportunities that you can do with us. Like I said, you can work on our helpline, work behind the scenes, and so helpline on the phone, actually talking to the clients calling for crisis or for domestic violence or for Pizza Hut. And then, or you can work behind the scenes and learn all these different agencies in the county. Right now I have 2 interns that are gonna help out with CalFresh enrollment. So like sit down with clients and sign them up for different programs. So everything and anything. We're always looking for volunteers.
How do I go about doing that? Do I talk to Kim or do I?
Call me.
Awesome.
I'll give you my card, yeah. Because that's under my belt right now as well, still volunteer and intern recruitment. So come to me.
Very good.
Hello, my name's Tiffany, and I am a student of the Drug and Alcohol program. And I had a bunch of questions that kind of changed as you all were speaking. Thank you. I kind of want a certificate and everything now. I have a couple of questions. No. I'm at a weird age, where when I was job searching, nobody wanted to hire me because I wasn't young enough or I was too old. And I was wondering if, being in your mid-40s is, I'm pretty sure that there wouldn't be any, prejudice. But also, I had a question specifically for, I believe it was David and Lisa at the end. I'm brand new to the program, and I was wondering what the difference is with the certificate and the KDAC and the KD. Is it the same?
Yes and no. So Kim probably knows a lot more about the KD than I would.
If I may.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you. Great questions. First, I want to address the being in the 40s thing, which is a little while ago for me. But I am a non-traditional student, ladies and gentlemen, who went back to school for my second career in my 30s. So my second career began in my 40s. So you will get employed. You will, especially in the world of human service work. We don't discriminate. I started my second career later, so I can relate, but you're going to be just fine. To answer your question, our alcohol and drug program is CADI accredited, California Association for Alcohol and Drug Educators, which has the highest educational standards of the remaining certifying bodies in the state of California. KDAC is now merged with CAR, and they are known as CCAP, I believe. Different entity, different organization. They, too, are a certifying agency. They have lesser educational requirements to achieve their certificate. They do. So I can speak more to CADI. I am a CADI board member, but again, CADI is our accrediting organization, so we have to meet certain educational standards of which our alcohol and drug program is built upon. So the courses we have are required by CADI that we provide these courses and the 2 full semester internships. So I hope that helps. We can talk more. I'll be happy to meet with you privately. With any students, you can schedule a meeting with me. You can reach me at kbranchstewart@saddleback.edu. I will meet with any of you individually to go over your certificate or academic goals. I'd be happy to assist you with that. I hope that, does that help?
Yeah, it does.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right, good afternoon. My name is William Snow, and I want to say thank you for everybody that came, because you guys kind of opened the door more that I do need to further my education farther than just a certificate. So thank you for that information. And actually, I had a question, because I have a pretty colorful past, and I would like to get into work with juveniles eventually. But I was just curious if anybody knew if there are any type of setbacks or like hoops that I would need to jump through.
Well, I will tell you from the probation department, you do have to pass a pretty extensive background. But I wouldn't deter you from possibly one of these other type of jobs, because something you have is a past experience, but most importantly, a future to what you're trying to do and what you will accomplish for yourself. And that's what a lot of the kids we have in custody need to hear. They have to listen to the staff that work for me because the court tells them to. But a person like yourself, if you're able to get into some type of work and you can share your experience and not to be ashamed of what has happened, but to be proud of what your future is, that's what these kids are looking for, is to grasp on the future. They all hear the past on and again, and even to the adult world, they hear the same thing over and over and over again. What they have to hear is there is ability to rise above it. So I would just don't lose focus of that wherever you land. In our business, though, as a peace officer in the state of California, you have to have passive background.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay.
Pardon the interruption. May I ask the panel members, or even Joe or any of our faculty, and forgive me, you guys, there is a new bill or process that helps reduce felonies to misdemeanors. Is that correct? Does anybody know what I'm referring to?
That would be Prop 47.
Is that the Prop 47?
Yeah, Prop 47 was passed by the people of the state of California in November. Okay. And not to get too much into the detail to look at the time on there, but what it is, there's certain past felonies that you can go back into through your attorney or through the public defender's office here in Orange County and get them reduced. They're usually low-level drug offenses and things of that sort. So just so you know, in probation alone, we had 3,500 adults that when Prop 47 passed were off supervision, which is good for many. Some people wanted to stay with us, though, because when they turn that point and start realizing that our agency also is charged and responsible for getting people's lives together, then they stay. But you should be able to look that up through your attorney or the public defender.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Lori. You, Mr. Semming, you answered actually a few of my questions, but I guess another for internships, if somebody who has a record, not like a traffic ticket, but you know, a little colorful, would that constrict them in the internships, or somebody who's an ex-parolee or somebody who's currently on parole in any of the internships?
I would ask you to still apply. And we do it case by case. And you just go to OC.gov, as Greg said, OC.gov, and then just go on the probation side, the probation website. I would still apply. I am aware that we have had some folks that have had some experiences in the criminal justice system. But I'm not a believer that should deter you from the experiences and your desire to not only share your past, but what your future is. That's another shift in the business we're in. Maybe there's a level of responsibility that the state regulations won't allow you to have, but we've got to find positions and things that you can do because you offer a level. The first thing a kid will tell you, well, you don't know, you've never been arrested, or you never grew up in gangs. But I was a gang officer working in Santa Ana for 6 years. What I learned from those folks is I listened to them, so I would be better at understanding and never try to present myself as something that I wasn't.
From my understanding, with the certificate program that I'm going for, we have an internship that we must do. So is it?
Absolutely. Lori, pardon me, which certificate are you pursuing?
The AOD.
Okay. AOD has many more options for our students who have the colorful backgrounds. In fact, the director of Katie, Dr. Lori Phelps, will tell you that having a colorful background is a Katie requirement. It's a requirement to be part of the Katie family. It's really not, but there are many opportunities. Many of our students have been on probation, parole, and have had serious criminal records with transparency, communication, wonderful, understanding, collaborative partners. I have yet to see the inability where we could not place a student. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, guys, my turn again. Sorry you have to listen to me again. I have some audience questions. They wanted to make me get embarrassed instead of them be embarrassed. So here, I have a couple of community-based corrections ones. What kind of bachelor's degree should you get if you're going for a community-based corrections certificate? So I think students want to go on from here, and where should their educational goals go?
I got my bachelor's in criminal justice from Cal State Fullerton. And I'm also looking into getting a master's. And I think the criminology program at UCI I'm looking into. But corrections, yeah, but when I was here, again, it was called corrections in criminal justice. So that led me to the degree and then to get my degree in criminal justice. But a lot of the classes are the same. So from here to Cal State Fullerton, so obviously I got A's in all of them. But these were better classes, just to let you know. But yeah, that's what I did.
Now, we hire victim advocates have to have a bachelor's degree. Witness specialists, which those are the people that work in the courthouse with victim witness that get all the witnesses for the trial together on the same day at the same time in the same place. Also restitution, where you work actually with the money that is ordered by the judge for the convicted individual to pay, all of those things. We do not require a college degree. A criminal justice certificate or an AA in criminal justice is of course something we would look at first for positions like that. When we're looking at bachelor degrees, we hire criminal justice majors, sociology, psychology, women's studies. I hire women's studies because I have a perfectly useless doctorate in women's studies. And I have to say also that, for a degree program, because I too feel that the people that we get from Saddleback are much more well-rounded in their education and more able to do hands-on work with us than most of the four-year universities around here. That's just my experienced opinion. But now I forgot what I was going to say. I obviously did not get a certificate here. We want people who are, we judge by the individual, not so much by the degree. Does that make sense? For example, I hired my volunteer coordinator for sexual assault. I hired her with no good reason. She had a journalism degree that was 10 years old, and there was something about the personality, the passion, the compassion, what I thought was the ability to make a difference in somebody's life every day, which is what we do.
Thank you. And to that answers the next question, which are some of the job opportunities.
I can't hear you.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Another question then is, are there, with an AA degree in human services, what would be some of the job opportunities that people might have with what would really be our social work certificate?
So you could come to the probation department, as we don't require for a bachelor's degree, but it appears most of the folks that we've been hiring lately are coming with bachelor's, dual master's degrees. A lot of people are keeping their education. So whatever you get your study in, mine too was in criminal justice, because whether I wanted to be a police officer, and I didn't really know what a probation officer was, but now here I am, kind of fall into those jobs. But nevertheless, you just want to make sure a human services type field for the probation work will satisfy what you need to do. You need to understand people. I consider I don't have a master's degree, but I consider myself an expert in human behavior. And that's what you need to understand. That's the primary focus of a criminal justice system. It's human behavior, learning how to address it, deal with it, work with it, and all the different challenges that come. So.
And also with the Orange County Behavioral Health, a lot of times in lieu of a bachelor's degree, they'll accept 3 years of experience in a certain drug or behavioral health. So it's really important to volunteer or try to get into some type of field in the helping services so that you got that experience working with other people. And that's what's really important in addition to a bachelor's degree, is to just being able to have that experience of being able to go to a job every day and be able to work with people who are in need. Because I know that when we're looking at applications, we're not only looking at what type of credential you have hanging. We're looking at who you've worked with and what type of opportunities have you had to be able to engage with others. So that's really important, because if you're just going to school and not kind of getting your feet into the trenches, then that may not be helping you that much more.
And I'm going to provide a little feedback also. Like Kim, I also am a professional social worker. Before I came here, that was my career. And so for people who are looking for human services generalists, which really is social work, at the county level, you can get introductory jobs in child protective services, adult protective services, in-home supportive services, and all those other kinds of programs like CalFresh, Cash Aid, all those. This certificate and AA both lay a great foundation for being able to do that, which is a big employer throughout the U.S., not just our county, but throughout the U.S. And one last question from everybody.
Excuse me 1 second.
Yeah.
Sean, may I just add something, you guys? In addition, ladies and gentlemen, to what everyone said, with the volunteer work and your internship, oftentimes internship opens the door for your career. It did for me, literally. My internship that began at Los Angeles City College's Human Service Program resulted in my standing here at this very moment. It was a springboard to my career. I want to go back to Greg. Greg, I believe it was the first intern that he accepted, ended up working at Orange County Healthcare Agency. He has his own business now, our alum, but Mike had an office down the hall from Greg. He was our first intern. Lisa is hired as a direct result of her intern work. Cassie has been hired as a direct result of her intern work. So please know, just as they're emphasizing volunteership, internship work, education, it is an accumulation of all of those things that are going to help you progress with your professional goals.
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
That's right.
Okay, I got a couple more series of questions, and then it'll be done. One is, and this is sort of a hand-in-hand question, are there graveyard shift opportunities for internship and for employment?
Yes, for employment. That is our entry level for your correctional officer position at probation. It also allows me sleep better at night because we have 4 juvenile facilities that never close. We leave the light on, not as a welcoming. But that's where I started. I started when it was called probation night counselor. I'm not a vampire, so I only work nights for 6 months. I don't drink coffee, so I had an issue with keeping myself motivated in the middle of the night when everybody else was sleeping. But nevertheless, the type of business we have at probation, we never close on that side for our juvenile facilities. That would be also on law enforcement too. That's 24 hours a day if you work for the sheriff or a local law enforcement too also.
And
we are also 24/7. We are part of the SART team with law enforcement and the forensics people. And so we're 24/7 as well. So we have a lot of people working from 5 p.m. until 5 a.m.
And we also have internship opportunities with Lights On Ministries, which is an RV, I believe, right outside of the Santa Ana jail. And part of the opportunities are to assist people who are being released from jail at the wee hours of the morning to help bridge that gap with some supportive services. So we do have that collaborative partnership with Lights On for internship opportunities in the middle of the night.
Do you need to do an internship to get your certificate?
Yes, you do. You do need to complete an internship for the alcohol and drug studies, the generalist community-based corrections. You will need to complete 2 full semester internships to get your certificate. For the mental health worker certificate, you need to complete 120 hours of what is called a cooperative work experience to get the mental health worker certificate.
And then the very last question is, how much education do you have to have under your belt before you can start doing internship?
You have to complete the 5 core courses, ladies and gentlemen, which are HS 100, matter of fact, I'm curious to know, as I call the courses, would you please raise your hand if you have taken or are currently taking any of these programs? So before you can apply for the beginning internship, you have to complete the 5 core courses. HS 100. Oh, yes, I love it. Introduction to Human Services. HS 120, Human Development. HS 140, Group Leadership. I'll see some of you at 4 o'clock. HS 170, Alcohol and Drugs in Our Society. Yahoo! And the last core course?
285.
HS25 ethics. If I haven't seen you, I shall. So you can apply to the beginning internship with the completion of those core courses. And keep in mind, application does not guarantee entry.
I get very excited, but I took the basic mental health worker certificate somewhere else, and that's how I got into the county. I applied and they accepted me. Now I'm taking the mental health worker through the college, that it's even higher standards than what I used to learn before, and I love it, and I love what I do, and human services, it's awesome.
Thank you so much. I have chills.